again, and welcome to Media War Stories, behind the scenes tales from the front lines of the media. I'm your host, Tom Curley. How are all of you today? Uh, well, it's the middle of winter, and everything is miserable. So we should regale ourselves with silly stories of crap that happened behind the scenes during our silly careers in broadcasting. And of course, I couldn't do it without my partner in crime, Mr. Garry Armstrong. Garry, how you doing?
Well, like you, I'm housebound. Family's housebound because the weather is what it is. Snow, which is being because the weather is so cold up here in New England, the streets are icing over, black ice, and that sort of thing. So, because I'm in the house, not as I was for so many years outside with the headset on and the microphone telling people the obvious, I'm doing well. I'm warm and still recovering. The frog is still in the throat. Where did that statement come from? The frog is in your
Yes,
throat.
a frog in your throat. That that doesn't really. I've never quite understood that because I mean, all of the all of the throat noises one makes when you have a frog in your throat, none of them sound like a frog. I mean, like if I went
Really?
ribbit, that would that would actually mean something. But but yeah, I gotta tell you, every time it snows, I just smile because I go, I don't have to go to work. The
Exactly.
number of times I mean, I have nightmare stories of going to work. One time it took me
Right.
almost 5 hours to get in, and I dodged. I'm not kidding. 10 accidents, literally pulling over to the side of the road, deliberately crashing into a snow pile, and then other cars just missing me. Everybody just pulling
Right.
over. Uh, and yeah, it was horrible. But anyway, so last week I promised to tell a story, and I actually remembered it. So
Wow.
yeah, I know. So last week I mentioned I appeared briefly. I had a couple of sound bites in a piece that Sunday Morning did. David Pogue did a piece on customer service calls, calling customer
Right.
service nightmares, and I shared one. So, and I sent them in a little 2 minute rant, of which they lifted about three 10-second pieces, which is from your
Right.
days. You interview somebody for
Yeah.
15 minutes, then you use maybe all that to get a 10-second soundbite. But anyway, I was
Right.
thrilled, and thanks to all of them, especially saying that I used to do Sunday Morning. That used to be one of my shows. I was the audio guy there, and I mean a long time ago. But anyway, the story that I told, and this actually happened, was with DirectTV, and this is um, if you need a dictionary definition of the term Kafkaesque, this was it. All right. So
Okay.
have had DirectTV for a number of years. And the way the DirectTV works is you have a main receiver box, and then you have these little extra, they call them genie boxes. It's a little box, and they all talk to each other through the coax cable, and they're like remotes. So the
Okay.
main receiver is like the server, and you put the little boxes in everybody's room, and everybody can access all your recordings. So I bought a 4K television, and I'm sitting there one day, and it says, "Wow, DirecTV has three 4K channels." So I said, "Oh, that's cool. I got a 4K TV." So I go to the channel, and the TV says, "You don't have a 4K TV." And I go, "Yes, I do." And it says, "You don't have a 4K TV." I said, "Yes, I do." It says, "No, you don't." I realize I'm arguing with my television. That's really silly. So I do a little research, and I find that no, I have a 4K TV, but I need a 4K Genie box, a little mini remote box that's 4K.
Yes.
And it says, "Oh, and it's free." So I called DirecTV. And of course, like anything else, welcome to DirecTV. To continue in English, press 1. Continue in Spanish, press 2. and then you go through an endless cycle of, the automated voice tries to, you can say what you want. And of course, it takes you about 20 minutes. Then you get a hold of a person, and then they transfer you to another person. I finally
Yes.
get transferred to the people. And now I've been on the phone now for over an hour. And I realized I don't really need this box. But I've been on the phone for an hour, so now I feel like, I'm committed, right? So it was free, except for the $200 installation fee. All right. So
Oh,
on a yeah. So it was on a Monday morning that the technician came, okay, and he
right.
did all that. He installed this 4K box, okay. So now this all happened within 1 week, okay. So as the week goes on, I'm noticing that no matter what I'm watching, the audio keeps dropping out.
Right.
And it's happening all over and over. And finally, I start to time it, and it's like every 4 minutes and 15 seconds, almost to the second, the audio drops out for 1 second, and it's on
Mm-hmm.
4K channels, it's on regular channels, it's on stuff that I recorded, it's on everything. So I do a little research. I type into Google, audio drops out on DirectTV 4K box, and I get 108,000 responses of people going, this box doesn't work. The audio drops out. It can't be fixed. DirectTV will not admit it. Don't even try to call them. They'll just give you another box that's broken. So on Friday, now I'm not going to yell. Okay, I'm not going to yell. And I get a
Right.
hold of them and I
Right.
go, guys, you put this box in on Monday. I want it gone. I want my old box back. I just want everything to be as it was before Monday. And they apologize. Oh, we are so sorry. They refund me the installation fee. They go, we will have a guy out there on Monday. I said, and he's going to have my old box. I'm going to give him the 4K box. He's going to give me the new one, actually the old one, and we're all going to be
Right.
fine. Absolutely. You guarantee. It says, we guarantee it. So that next Monday, 'twas on a Monday morning, the next technician came, and he goes, oh, I thought this was repair. I'm here for repair. This is an installation. I said, I don't really care what you call it. I just want my old box back. So he goes, well, I have to call in. Now, here's where it gets hilarious. You would think that a
Okay.
technician working for DirectTV would have a phone number, a special phone number to his boss or to whoever he would have to talk to.
Yes.
No. He has to call the same number that you do. 1-800-DirectTV. Hi, welcome to
Oh
DirectTV.
my
To
goodness.
continue in English, press 1 to continue. So for 20 minutes, this guy goes through all the same shit that we all go through. He finally gets a person.
Oh,
He explains what's going on, and she says, oh no, that's an upgrade. And I go, no, it's a downgrade. I want to go from 4K back to just regular HD. And she says, and it'll cost him $200. Now, I have since told this technician that about the conversation on Friday. And I've also told him, and for you people at home, my comedy group, Voicescapes Audio Theater, our opening piece is a piece called Till Death Do Us Not Part. And the whole skit is about a guy calling the cable company to try to cancel his dead father's cable account.
Okay, I have your account information. Now please tell me the reason for your call. For example, you can say, order pay-per-view or pay my bill.
Cancel an account.
I heard activate a cable box. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, let's try again. You can say pay-per-view.
Cancel an account.
I heard cancel a service appointment. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct. It's not even close to correct. It's hilarious.
Right.
So I'm telling this guy, I said, I do a skit about this. and he's acting very nervous. He's like, he's embarrassed, right? So I get on the phone, and
Yeah.
he goes, lady, I don't think he's going to pay that. So I get on the phone with her, and I go, all right, lady. I said, I went over this on Friday. I'm not yelling. And I said, I just want my box back. I am not paying anything. And she says, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. So for the next 15 minutes, she's typing, and she's typing, and she's typing. And she goes, all right, I think I got it. Okay, here's what and I hear a dial tone. Hung up on. So now the guy has to start all over again. Welcome to DirectTV. To continue in English, press 1. To continue in Spanish, press 2. And for another 20 minutes, goes through all of the same shit being transferred here and there, gets a second person, goes through the whole story again, and same thing. The lady goes on for about another 10 minutes. All right. I think I got dial tone. Again. Start the whole process again. This happens 2 more times. Okay?
Wow.
So now,
Wow.
and as each time he goes through it, I'm telling him a little more of the sketch.
Hello, welcome to Timecast Optimum Cable. My name is Sanjay. How can I help you?
I need to cancel my father's cable account. And before you ask, my father can't cancel it because he passed away. He's dead. I'm his son. I'm the executor of his estate, and you're the third person I've been transferred to. Can you please help me?
I see. Well, I am sure that we can help you, sir. First, can I have the reason your father wants to cancel his account?
He's dead?
Are you sure he wants to cancel his account?
Didn't you hear me? He's dead. He's buried 6 feet under in the Shore Haven Garden Cemetery. A cemetery, I might add, with no cable service.
Well, we can certainly book service technician to come out and fix that, sir.
Okay, I'm actually just slowly going through the sketch. So, back to real life. He finally gets the last person, okay? And the last person, after 20 minutes of typing, she goes, look, there's the only way that we can do this is I will have to drop ship you a unit that will be mailed to you, and then when it arrives, we will send out a technician to hook it up. To which point I go, lady, the technician is standing 2 feet in front of me with the box in his hand. All he has to do is hand it to me. Well, so at this point, I go, all right, here's what's going to happen. Everything is going to stay the same, all right? You're going to leave. I'm going to hang up. I'm not paying anything. That's it. So as the technician's leaving, I finally get to the last part. I've now told him the whole skit. I get to the last part of the skit. Hello?
Hello, this is Timecast Optimum Cable. My name is Sanjay. We are calling to confirm a service appointment at Shore Haven Garden Cemetery next Tuesday between the hours of 12 and 5. Will somebody be there during those hours?
Yes, my dad will be there.
Are you sure? If no one is there, we will have to charge a cancellation fee.
Oh, he'll be there. I guarantee it. And this guy who's been like really nervous and uncomfortable the whole time, he walks out the door and he stops and he goes, cracks up, right? So to this day, up in the guest room where you and Marilyn stay when you come down to visit, there is a 4K DirectTV box that is hooked into a not 4K television that if you notice it, the audio will drop out.
Yes, yes.
To this day. That actually effing happened.
Wow.
You can't make this stuff up.
That,
Actually, there's other ones that we we put a they installed a dish on the roof, and they installed it, okay, and
right.
we had to replace the roof. So when the roofers replaced the roof, they put the dish back, but it was out of alignment. So I had to call them. I said, we had the roof fixed, and you got to come out and align the dish. And they said, sure, no problem. A guy comes out, a technician, right? And I go out to meet him, and I'm being very friendly. And the guy starts screaming at me. And he's going, I'm not going up on that roof. I'm not going up on that roof. Are you kidding? This is OSHA regular. No way. And he gets in his, and he drives off in a huff. And I'm going like, what the hell was that about? Right? So I called DirectTV back. I said, the guy who you sent out, he won't do it. And they went, what? I said, he refuses to go up and do it. And he yelled at me. And they go, we don't know what to say. So they sent another guy out. He got even madder, right? So finally, a third guy comes. I called him a second time. I go, guys, this is the second guy you've sent. Could you please send somebody who wouldn't yell at me? So the third guy comes out, and he starts. He says, I can't go up there. And I go, I bet. And he says, wait. He said, you have to understand that when that was put up, in between when they installed that dish and now, OSHA, the regulatory agency, said that you can't go up on roofs that have that much of an angle. I said, well, then what do you want me to do? He said, well, do you mind if I said, I can just go up on the ladder and put a new dish right where the ladder is. And I said, I don't care where you put it. You could put it up your ass as far as I'm concerned, as long as I get, TV reception. So that's what he did. So for a while, so I have two dishes, one that doesn't go anywhere, and the other one that works. You can't make this stuff up. So anyway, you said you did a really cool story last week. I know. It's just, hence, it was enough where this guy did a whole story on, what a nightmare it is. And part of the story, which was cool, is that it's being they're replacing the customer service with AI, which is even worse. So anyway, last week you did a very funny story about meeting Betty Davis, and you said you had another one.
Yeah,
so, what was that
and
about?
I had forgotten about that. There was a part two, if you wish. We had talked about Betty Davis. For viewers who didn't see the last podcast, Betty Davis in town to do the tape session with Dick Cavett, and the taping was done about a half a block away from where we used to work at ABC Network News. And I, in my mind's eyes, I told the story, that was it. But then I remembered, as you do often, that there was more to the story. So that happened earlier in the day. Now, this was, I'm going to say, late afternoon. I believe I had a lunch or dinner break or whatever, and I went down to a place called John's, which was your typical fast food. Everything is greasy, but it tastes good if you're hungry. So I was down there and standing in line to place my order. I had just placed my order for a fried egg sandwich, which they knew me from all the times I'd ordered by phone. So they were whipping up a fried egg sandwich and coffee, and I heard a voice behind me saying, in that typical voice, which I won't try to do, but something like, I'm on a short time leash. I have to get back to the Dick Cavett show, as if that was supposed to give her entree to the top of the line. And the fellow looks up and says, I'm just finishing the office, ma'am. And she said, you don't call me ma'am, I am. And he looked up and said, yes, I know who you are, but I have to finish this order for this gentleman who's a steady customer. And she said, I don't care if he's a steady customer. I have to get back to the bloody Dick Cavett show, except she didn't say bloody. And he looks up again and says, I'm almost finished. If you'll just give me a minute, I'll be with you. And she said, well, and then I turned around and looked at her, and she just stared with those big Betty Davis eyes saying, you again? And I said, yeah, I'm just grabbing a quick sandwich. And she said, well, I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to get back to my job also. And she said, well, you're becoming rather a bit of an annoyance. And I said, well, that's been said to me before. And she said, well, who told you that? And I said, well, I'm not at liberty. And she said, well, I know you have to get back to the Dick Cavett show. And I must say, it may not be evident, but I'm enjoying the time we're spending here. And she said, well, that does it. You think you have a smart ass mouth, but you haven't begun to spend time with me. And I said, oh, I'm getting my sandwich now. Would you like to go ahead? And she said, well, I said, it's all yours. So she walked up to the counter and said, and this is true, I'll have what he's having.
I'll have what she's having.
The fast food guy who done 10,000 of these things, he dropped the eggs on the floor, and he said, if you hold on a moment, I have to go back to the freezer to get some more eggs. And she said, damn it, why did you do that? And he just looked at me and said, well, Mr. Armstrong is a regular here. And she said, but you don't understand. And she said, and the guy says, I know you're Betty Davis, but the eggs are on the floor. He's leaving. If you want a fried egg sandwich, and by the way, would you like that with butter or fat? And she said, no. That stuff is all dirty. And I turned around and I said, they make the best fried egg sandwiches in town, ma'am. And then I turned around and she said, if I ever catch up with you again, and I said, that would really be my pleasure. And she just snarled. I walked out the door. And as I was walking out the door, I looked back and she looked at me and she smiled. I walked out. Betty Davis. It's so bizarre. It reeks of that. Do you know who I am story? It just never gets old. Oh God,
yes. That is hilarious. I'll have what she. That was probably years. Was that before or after When Harry Met Sally?
That had to be. That was It has to be the late '60s when I was working at ABC.
Oh, then that was definitely before. Wow.
That was long before When Harry Met Sally.
Wow. Wow.
So I guess that line is yeah.
Betty Davis. Wow. She did it first. Copyright infringement.
And this was what the thing is. You hear about certain actors and actresses and how they behave off camera, and sometimes the way they behave off camera is mirrored in their on-screen persona. And the two times I did meet her, that's who she was. So it reminds me when I told you the Garry Merrill story a few podcasts back about the temper she had, and that she wasn't just manufacturing that attitude on camera, that she could really be a pistol off camera. And I guess I found out firsthand. And
yeah,
when I went back to when I went back to the studio, and someone was asking me, well, why did it take you so long to get a fried egg sandwich and coffee? And I started to say, Betty Davis. And they said, oh, no, did you do that again? And I said, what can I tell you? It was that street.
I remember John's. That's right. You'd call it. Hello, John's. Hello, John's.
Yes.
That was yes. You're right. We all ate there. Well, it's fascinating. Yeah. There's always a one place around a broadcasting operation that has always a hole in the wall, and it's cheap, but the best food. Right up at ABC, it was John's.
Yes.
When I was at WCBS FM, which was on 53rd Street and 6th Street, 53rd and 6th Avenue, right across the street was a little hole in the wall called the Burger Train. All right, and they made was hamburgers, cheeseburgers, or a grilled cheese sandwich, which was the cheese on the hamburger bun grilled. So,
Right.
and they bought, it was only fresh beef, okay? And they bought
Right.
exactly enough meat that they would sell in one day. In other words, nothing was ever
Yeah.
frozen. So in the morning, they would get
Right.
a delivery of fresh beef, and the line for lunch would be around the block. It was just lunch, and they
Yeah.
sold out
Exactly.
every day. And they were the
Yeah.
best hamburgers ever. So it was hamburgers, and I
Right.
think Coke, maybe a milkshake. I'm not even sure. And that's all they sold.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And there I remember there was this little old guy, had to be in his 80s, skinny, probably made 90, weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. And he was at the cash register. And I remember going there every day. And I'm thinking, oh, man, that poor guy, he should be
Right.
retired. And, he's working the cash register. And I always felt so sorry for him, right? So one day he wasn't there, and there was somebody else at the cash register. But I noticed there was a picture up behind the cash register of this guy with two incredibly hot women in bikinis on a beach in the
Yes.
Caribbean,
Yes.
right? And I'm looking, and I go like, wow. And I said, isn't that the cash register guy? And he goes, no, that's the owner. That guy's richer than God. So, he owned the burger train. He worked there. I mean, God bless him. He absolutely could retire, but he had to do successfully. And then at the broadcast center, CBS, there used to be a place across the street, and again, another hole in the wall, and they served this thing. They called
Right.
it a Giacomo. And it was like a 12-inch sub with, it was sort of like a Philly cheesesteak. It was the greasiest.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a heart attack on a plate. They were beyond
Yes.
delicious. And again, a line around the block every single day. So, I don't know if these places still exist.
Yeah.
But
You mentioned the
yeah.
photos on the wall, and a lot of these places, I'm thinking of diners on Long Island, among other places. They usually have photos of the so-called celebrity diners with the owner or whoever is the maintainer of the premises. And I don't know how I forgot to tell you this in the story I just mentioned. John's had pictures of celebrities, movie stars, Broadway stars. Plus, he had photos of the people who worked at ABC Network News, not only the celebrities, the reporters, but also the maintenance, behind the scenes people like me. When Betty Davis was tapping her feet, impatiently waiting to get to the counter, she looked around at all the pictures in the wall. And I looked over my shoulder and I saw her, and I saw her eyes narrowing to a slit because, yes, there was a photograph of Garry Armstrong and a photograph of somebody else and some movie stars. And she was looking obviously to see if she was there, and she wasn't there. And when she noticed that she wasn't there, she said, she said, wait a minute, I'm seeing all these people and I don't see a photograph of Betty Davis. And the guy looks up and says, who? And she said, me. And he said, I'm sorry, I don't put the photos up. And he said, but how come you have a photograph of this young man who's never done anything, but you don't have a photograph of Betty Davis up there? And he said, I know this young man. He's a steady customer. He works at ABC. He is well respected, but he's never made a movie. And I said, well, in due time. And then she went back to the rant she was having about having to wait for her sandwich. But the photos on the wall of local greasy spoons, that's the true tale of legacy. True tale of celebrity.
That's the truth of success. Absolutely. Well, we've done it again. We've wasted another half hour. So yeah, those were great stories. So let's see how quickly we can get to the plugs. Serendipity Seeking Intelligent Life on Earth. I see you are wearing a Serendipity shirt. Seeking
Yes, I
Intelligent Life
am.
on Earth.
Yes, I am.
Yep. which is
Yeah.
Marilyn's blog that we all contribute to. Voicescapes Audio Theater for the best in audio comedy and drama. Half-hour radio show, cult hit from the 80s, is still hanging around. Funny as ever, and of course, my sister podcast, Get Off My Lawn with Tom Curley, where we talk about life, the universe, and anything involving the number 42. So, Gary, till next week, see ya.